What about dealing with the business community, right? Because you said it's a difference between, instilling confidence and, how it is, the perception is of the people, whether or not they see you as more from a business perspective or if the business people see you more as for the people. When you're talking about the business community, I know that there has to be different personalities and, different types of people that you got to deal with on a regular basis. How do you manage them, right? Because I'm assuming that they all in the same room with each other to an extent as far as having each other's
To an
phone,
extent, yes.
right? What is it like dealing with practically a billionaire or their family or people that have a huge interest? I know one of the things in the city specifically, and now we starting to see that transformation as far as the train station, right? Dealing with the Maroons or dealing
Yes.
with the Illiches and dealing with the Gilberts and all of those type of people. What is it like dealing? And then I'm sure it's a bunch of other people that those are just the face because they Red Wings and
Yes.
Quicken Loans and stuff.
Well, and they
What is
billionaires.
yeah, and what is that like dealing with those? Because we hear when people say you dealing with the people,
Yeah.
but people don't really have a conversation when it talks about dealing with the business community. What is that like?
The billionaires don't define themselves as being a part of the quote unquote business community.
They don't.
No, no. They're the illiches. Yeah, I'm Dan Gilbert.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You dealing with me. The business community, first, before we go to the billionaires, are the people who are part of the fabric of the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
They are the businesses that have been here forever, the banks, the utility companies, the autos. They're mostly those guys, the auto suppliers. They're in the business community. The people that you named, the Maroons, the Illiches,
So the fabric of the community, when you refer to that, you talking about General
General
Motors,
Motors,
the
Ford,
UAW, Ford,
UAW,
Magna
Christ,
International,
yes,
all of those type of people.
Comerica,
Comerica, yep.
yep, Chase. The people that are part of that, what they call Chamber of Commerce or Detroit Renaissance.
Okay.
Those are the people who, in this community, kind of talk about what the policy is for the corporate community, how we relate to the government, and they basically just want the free exercise of their business, be able to expand, be able to grow, figure out how you could decrease regulation in your town so they can come in and do business. That's what they control. The people you talked about, they don't even deal with them. They up here. They don't.
They don't at all.
They don't. They might say how you doing and have a relationship with them, but Mike Ellis wasn't going to no Detroit Renaissance meeting. He's not going over there. He's not doing all that.
Yeah.
Matty Maroon ain't going over there. If you want to meet with Matty, I can meet with all of those people I just named in one meeting. When we were doing the Super Bowl and I need to raise money for campus marches and do all the streetscaping and everything else, I went to one meeting and talked to all of those people in that room and raised $23 million to do all the lighting and what people see now is Woodward and Washington Boulevard, Gratiot, all that. One meeting, we can do all the lights and streetscaping. But if I wanted to go and get Roger Penske involved, Dan Gilbert, or the Illiches, or Matty Maroon, I got to go meet with that person. They weren't at that meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to that meeting. Now they might have a representative there for something like Super Bowl, but the person is not there. And so these people, that's why I talked about one time Mavericks versus just the corporate community. You got to understand the CEO, and I think is what Mary Bears now for GM. She has a job. She probably make $10 million a year, but she still has a job. She's hired by Matty Maroon.
I mean, she's controlled by the shareholders and
exactly.
and the board.
All that has to
board.
report to her board. Yep. Matty Maroon is a guy who built his business from the streets up.
Yeah.
And he got in the dirt down there on the West Riverfront. He was over there before everybody thought it was lucrative. He was already doing deals with the federal government before people even knew he was who he was around there. And him and Mary Young were tight. And so you got that corporate guy, that billionaire, versus a Dan Gilbert who started out here in Oak Park working in a store. He gets Quicken Books, sells Quicken Books, buys it back as Quicken Loans, ends up with billions of dollars. But he's a young guy. How can we? Why didn't you just do this, Kwame? When we're meeting, he said, "Why don't you just do it? Why don't you just do it?"
Yeah.
I said, "Dan, we have to blah blah blah." I go fly and meet with him in Cleveland. We go to a Cleveland Cavaliers game, and I'm telling them this is what I need to do to get this done for the Super Bowl. And I'm also trying to get the permanent casinos. I need them to start building. So this is what why don't you just do it? And I say, see, this is good. This is good. I like that. Where I could just do it if you would do X, Y, and Z. That's good. But it's a totally different mentality talking to a billionaire and than talking to a guy with a job. There's not much difference between the vice president over, such and such, or the senior management official over such and such, than it is the CEO in a lot of these companies. They're all aiming for the same. They went to the straight-laced business schools, the great ones, Michigan, Yale, Harvard, and they have a practical. These mavericks, they ain't do it by the book. Pete Carmanos didn't do it by the book.
Yeah.
This is a guy who was running around hustling in the 1970s, a guy at Cass Tech, and said, we starting to sell these systems, and hit a lick and said, okay, how we parlay this into that, buy his partners, I'll get this. See, these guys, they different. They just, when you have a conversation with them, Anton, they're different. And when you see their toys, they're different. They're totally different people. They are different from one another, but there's a personality trait, and it's that maverick trait, that confidence to say, why don't we just do it? Matty Maroon was so fun to meet with because he had this high voice. Wow, I'm just saying now, Mayor, maybe we should look at. He always acted like he was confused. I like it. It was like a character in a movie, And if Matt see this, he's passed on. But I used to love meeting with him because he said, but wait a minute, we got all this business over in the bridge. I mean, maybe we should just pack it up and kind of, other cities are calling us. We need to go. And I'll be like, man, stop. Yeah, you ain't going nowhere. But it's a great thing to see the difference. Now, the corporate people, they didn't like me.
So these individual guys that got it out the mud, that got a completely different sense of winning, of what it takes in order to be successful,
they
operate way differently than the business community.
Way differently. And they weren't so concerned about the politics. We're going to win no matter who's mayor. We're going to win no matter who's governor. And we're going to win no matter who's president. We are not controlled by the political. We don't even need to control the politics. We don't care nothing about controlling politics. We're trying to win. So which one of these guys I need to talk to? Democrat, Republican? I don't care. That's how they were. This corporate structure, Chamber of Commerce, in everybody's town, and anybody who's watching this, in your town, your business roundtable, they want to control the politics and everybody. Well, here's the problem, Anton. I'm from Linwood and the Boulevard, and I grew up in the Shrine of the Black Madonna. And I just had a bad concept of that. I didn't like that whole thing. I don't like, you can't just tell me, you're going to do this. And no, that don't sound good. Wait a minute, first of all, it was kind of like, you kind of reflect on the old Godfather. We should have alliances,
Yeah.
But it was tough for me to deal with that entity because they were very much used to having control of what the mayor was or was not doing. And if not him himself, the people around them. They got their hands full now with the one now, though.